What's up, everyone? It's Rachel Lindsay, and if you love all things Bravo, then you need to be listening to Morally Corrupt. Every Tuesday and Friday, your favorite Ringer podcasters and I dive into Bravo's biggest moments and dish out hot and always unfiltered takes. And guess what? Now you can watch us too. That's right, Morally Corrupt is now available in video on Spotify. So whether you're listening in your family van or watching next to your white refrigerator, don't be all uncool and miss out. Catch new episodes every Tuesday and Friday only on the Ringer Reality TV feed.
I am so excited for this episode of Please See Below because I have on someone who actually predicted a year and a half prior that I would be on the Real Housewives of New York. We are talking to the best psychic, the number one in New York in the world, Dante. Hello, welcome to Please See Below, my brand new podcast, all about perfecting the art of oversharing. Here, we mention the unmentionables and talk about topics and things that no one wants to say out loud, but everyone is desperate to know. Oh my God, hi.
Hi, sweetheart. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction.
Well, you are. I mean, like, you're the best. And we're matching. We didn't mean to do this because we're basically connected at soul. I mean, you are. I don't even know where to start with you and our background. I'm going to get in and explain the whole, how you basically predicted that my life would change. But can you share really quick a little bit about all of your accolades? I mean, how I first heard of you is that you were the number one psychic in New York City and everyone at Vogue knew you. That was my introduction to you. And that's why originally in 2020, I don't know, that's originally why I booked my appointment with you where you predicted not predicted, but when you shared or forecasted. And correct me if I use any of the wrong words, because I know we'll talk about that too. It's really annoying how people talk about these things. So we'll go about that, about the vernacular.
That's okay. I'm a pretty seasoned professional tarot reader here in New York. I moved to New York in 1995, and I've been reading ever since I got here. I grew up with it. My mother's a reader, and I grew up with it, feeling very comfortable about it. And when I was 15, she gave me my own deck to start looking into the cards myself. And with that, I had a lot of fun and started to read my friends, and over time, it kind of just grew into this thing it is today. It's my full-time career. It's been my full-time career for over 10 years.
Prior to your mother giving you a deck at the age of 15, did you kind of know? Was it like, were you the I see dead people person? I know that's different. That's a totally different thing. But I mean, like, was it
when I was like little, I do remember when I was kind of 6, 7, 8, maybe sitting on her lap, watching her read. I was very interested. I was a little kid. Well, what does that card mean? And what is, and she'd be like, okay, get away. I'll tell you later. But, because she had books back then, I could read, I would read some of her books in her library. So I was already interested in it myself. So I was naturally drawn to it.
Right. Would you say it's a gift or is it something that can be learned?
Yes. I mean, I think I describe psychic ability as something everybody has, and some people develop it, and some people are born with, talent, sort of like maybe a piano prodigy that can play the piano at 5 years old. So it's similar to that. It's kind of like a talent that you can hone in and develop, but everybody has a piece of themselves that's considered psychic. Like when your mom's going to call you and she calls you, then that 10 minutes later, that's your psychic ability letting you know that she's going to call you. But I have an advanced psychic ability, and I was born with those astrological signatures in my birth chart. And, I'm drawn to the psychic world, and I'm very intuitive and perceptive, and I developed my talent reading cards for decades. And so I believe at this point I'm pretty much a master of my game.
I mean, maybe she's born with it. Honey, you are so born with it. You are 1,000% born with it. When I moved to California by 2015, or I have no idea what year it was, and I was living in Venice, I was collecting crystals, and Venice is the land of is like the epicenter in the U.S. for all of the crystals and tarot. So I started to get into it. One of my very best friends, Alyssa, she would go to Sherman Oaks Psychic Ice Shop. She'd always go to this tarot reader. So I remember oddly enough, I don't know how to remember this. She took me to Dr. Copeland. I went for my breast augmentation exam. It was like the best day ever. Then we went to the Beverly Hills Hotel. And then she's like, come to my psychic. And I was like, I don't believe in that. long story short, we went to this psychic, and I just broken up with my ex Gideon, and I'd moved out because he didn't want to get married, all this sort of stuff. And I went and I had started seeing another guy. And long story short, she predicted that he would show up this was in April, beginning of May, that he would show up in June and propose. I was like, there's no way. I begged him. It's the reason why we broke up. Like, I told, there's no way. There's no way. I haven't even talked to him. I'm dating this other guy, blah, blah, blah. And Gideon ended up proposing June 11th. So I was sold, okay, on the concept. But then and I dabbled and whatnot. And then I had my own tarot cards. I had my own little, the thing that goes back and forth, the thing.
Pendulum.
Yes. I bought a witchcraft book, and I would do like candle spells. I did all these crazy things, right? But then so I was really into it because I'm just curious, and I love astrology and astronomy. I love all these things. So fast forward though, it was then a little bit in COVID. I don't know if it was 2021. It was probably summer 2021. I went through another breakup, and I always turn to all of this when I'm going through a breakup. I'm like, I need answers. I ask a therapist, but you can just ask a psychic. So I had remembered a friend who had shared your name, found you, took me a long time, found you, booked you. I had to wait a couple months because Dante, you wait, and honey, he's expensive. So I had to save up and wait. And then I went over, we had our session, and I remember I sat down and I was like, you were kind of not having it with me. You weren't. Dante does not blow smoke up your ass. Dante is not like, you literally kind of put me in my place. I'm like, hi, I'm here because I want to know where my husband is. Like, I just got another breakup. What the hell's going on? And you're like shuffling your cards. You're like, okay, sit down. And you just weren't having it. And then you're shuffling, you're giving all these cards, and you made me write everything down. This is what Dante does. He will make you write a piece of paper, not on your phone. You have to write everything he says down. Okay.
Old school.
I hated it. And I was like, oh my God, this is so dumb. And he's doing all these cards. Then you kept asking me. You were like, have you been an actress or a model? And I was like, I lived in LA, but no, I'm in PR, I'm in marketing. Why would I ever be an actress or a model? And you kept and then you do more, you're talking more and more. You talked about my grandmother, it was really beautiful. And then you're like, are you sure? No acting, no modeling? I'm seeing something here about acting and modeling. Then you also told me that you saw trade shows in the future, like a really big trade show. And I'm sitting here thinking, I want to know where my husband is. I want to know where I'm married. And this fucking guy who costs a fortune is telling me about trade shows and modeling and acting. And you said, I could see you doing something like reality TV. And I was like, oh my God, this person does not know me. Then you literally said something like The Real Housewives of New York City. And I wrote it down, and I still have the piece of paper, and I took it to Season 14. I showed everyone. I showed Andy. I showed all my producers. Nobody believed me. I have the piece of paper written down. I still have. When I left that reading, though, okay? So this was a year before I got casted. I left. I called a girlfriend. I talked shit about you. I was like, fuck this guy. Fuck this psychic. I just wasted a ton of money. He didn't tell me anything. He told me I was going to be on reality TV and go to a trade show. This guy is a whole hoax. A year later, Real Housewives and BravoCon, hello. So it's like,
Amazing.
It is wild. I must be one of dozens, thousands of stories of people that are like, fuck this guy. Oh, wait, he actually was the most accurate and insanely precise. Incredible.
It's usually when I get the pushback, because you were pushing back on the acting thing, and I was like, yeah. So, a lot of times I have cards that are double meaning. So like, I might have 2 cards for acting or 3 cards for acting, and those particular cards came up in prominent positions in that particular spread. And, it was the first card I turned over was, are you an actress? Was the first thing out of my mouth, because you had the acting card as your first card, and you're like, no. And I'm, well, it looks like you're an actress to me. Anyway, so later in the reading, when you gave me all that pushback, I'm like, all right, just write it down. And then I was like, well, do you want to do improv? Do you want to do like, I said, do you want to take classes and anything comedy? And
yeah.
No. I'm like, all right, girl, whatever. So then like later in the reading,
we hated each other during the reading.
Yeah, because I'm talking to myself, right? Because as much as you're being like, what is this guy talking about?
Oh, no, you were shuffling the cards, rolling your eyes, and I'm like, get me the fuck out of here.
Write it down.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
So later in the reading, you got this other acting card in this power position. And I'm like, okay, girl, you're definitely acting. And so usually when there's the pushback from the client with a real adamancy, then it's pretty quite startling how it can come out and how it plays out. A lot of times it may be a little bit later than I say. I'm not always accurate on time because I don't control someone's time. Right. But things do eventually happen. And I've had people come back like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I found my notes and I read them over, and I checked off everything you told me. And at the time, it didn't make sense. And sure enough, I moved to Paris like you told me, or I met the guy that you told me, or I had the kid that you told me. And so it's
Yeah.
really a rewarding kind of career because it's fun. I have a lot
Yeah.
of fun. I love what I do, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm also a very tough love reader. So when
Tough.
there's issues
Yes.
come up and people carry a lot of things and there's a lot of seriousness in the world and people have a lot of things they want to talk about, I can address them and kind of bring it to a place where I'm trying to empower the client. It's about
Yeah.
empowering.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and
so
I remember that
I
reading
have
too. We
my
talked
way of
about
doing it.
yeah, we talked about tough stuff. I remember I was grieving, and I remember I shared with you like a lot of the things, the trauma things that I'd just been through in the past year. And I remember you gave me a lot of really good advice just about what to do with like mental health, even too. Like I remember the reading being uncomfortable. I remember
Yes.
like I'm so used to calling psychiatric shop, and, ha he hoo, hoo, and like silly and like all this sort of stuff. It felt like a therapy that I didn't want to be in. It
Correct.
wasn't this like feel good sort of reading. It was a lot of tough love. It was a lot of realness, and it was just spot on. It was just spot on. It's like it's incredible. Yeah, it's not. Don't expect like a this is gonna be fun and silly. And it's not that it's scary. It's just it's real. It just really, really hits you and it feels real. And sometimes it's like something you don't want to hear, I think, as well. Or it's
Yeah.
difficult to hear. Yeah.
Depends. Once in a while, I get a really easy client or really easy reading where it's like,
What's an easy
why
one?
did you even come to me? Your life is great. And
Oh, really?
and it's the curiosity. Yeah. It could
Oh,
be
they're
like,
just
I just
curious.
you had to say it's once in a while. Most people have a lot of things we're talking about, but
Yeah.
once in a while you get the kind of, oh, wow, this is I said, you really didn't need to get your cards read. I mean, it depends on the client and the situation, but once in a while that happens.
Does
It
anyone ever
usually a little
come
bit
in and
more
then you
if
kind of
you,
like have to shit on their parade?
I
Do you
can do
ever
that
like
as
see
well.
some? Do you ever see something or the cards and you avoid, or do you always just whatever's in front of you, you communicate it, or do you ever like she looks like she's having a good day? I won't bring something that I'm seeing or detecting
Well,
up.
as much as I'm tough love, I'm also a sensitive, tender person and I care about people. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't push too far if I felt that the person was fragile. A lot of people do cry. There's tissues next to the
There's
place sits
there's
down because a
tissues.
lot of tears that happen in my home here. And I find it very healing and very releasing. And where I need to be gentle, I can certainly be gentle. I might not be for everyone, but I'm for a lot of people.
You're
And I also refer people to certain kinds of mental health practices and different kinds of therapies as I see fit.
yeah.
I might say, you might need more than one holistic form of care.
Yeah.
If it's really serious, I've gotten people into therapy and to, recovery programs and all kinds of stuff. I talk about all kinds of things, death and abuse and you name it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's also the fun stuff too. So it's kind of like you're all over it's like a good movie, when
Yeah.
you have all the emotions that come up.
What's the I wanted to say what's the silliest thing that's ever come up, but what would be one of like the most annoying things like that people come in? Is it's people that came in like me, like, where's my husband? And you're like, bitch, this is
That's
not
not
how this works.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you come in a little aggressive, I take control. I'm like, don't grab my steering wheel, get in the back seat of the car. I'm in charge
Yeah.
of the reading. If you don't like what I say, you can throw it away. You pay me to tell you what I see. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of things that can push back on the aggression. I think the hardest thing is if someone comes to me with a desire to hear something that they want to hear specifically that I may not see.
Yeah.
And so that could be a little bit of a challenge where they may not feel like, for example, someone is in love with a person they broke up with and they're really heartbroken and they want to come to me to find out that that person is coming back to be their lover. And I may
Yeah.
not see that. And usually it doesn't happen like that anyway. So if they're adamant on he's coming back to me and I'm like, no, he's not, that's a bit of a problem.
Right, right. So explain to everyone how it works. Well, first if you could also explain, if you don't mind,
Sure.
difference between tarot versus medium versus psychic versus like let's just
Sure.
clarify
So
what's
the
what.
bubble, like the umbrella word is psychic, the psychic healing arts, as I call it, and that includes astrology and tea leaf reading and palm reading and tarot and anything that would bring in some kind of healing to the psyche. Um, and tarot is one of those versions. It's sort of like art. You have sculpture and painting and batiking and drawing and pastels and watercolor. So there's the versions of, the art, and just like you have different instruments, you have an oboe and you have a guitar and you have a piano. So it's different expressions of the bigger picture, which is kind of psychic work. And there's different kinds of readers, and I happen to pick the path of tarot because that's what I grew up with and that's what I'm comfortable with. My psychic ability allows me to intuit off birth charts. I can also read palms, but it's really not my expertise, and you kind of need to pick a lane.
Yeah.
So I picked that lane and it works and serves me well. But I'm hugely interested in astrology. I've been studying astrology for 15 years. I can also intuit, off certain things and people. But I'm known as a tarot reader. You come to me to get your cards read, and that's what serves me and serves you.
Explain to me the difference between your expertise and role with the cards, and then as it relates to like extracting that from someone's psyche, and then
Sure.
and how it
So this,
dictates their life, their future, their choices.
Sure. This is the Empress, for example. She is the third card in the major arcana, and she represents many things. So each card has many meanings. So my psychic ability is to let you know this card either represents pregnancy, fertility, gynecology, beauty, fashion, harmony.
All my
So my
favorite
ability,
things.
right, they're
Oh my
mirrors. So
God,
the
I want all of
cards
it.
yeah, the cards really work as mirrors.
Okay.
And so they mirror your psyche and they kind of act as a scanner. And so my psychic ability is to read the scan the way a doctor reads a scanner when you go to get an MRI. And my ability is to discern what those cards mean as they reflect off your psyche and the position that those cards place in the spread that I create.
Right.
And so the Empress may appear in a particular position for you, and the next client, the Empress appears in a different way to someone else. Yeah. And for you, it can represent beauty, and for the next person, it can represent freezing their eggs, it can represent getting pregnant.
Right.
Or it can represent sex, because this is the card of sexuality.
Right. That's what I love. Again, all my favorite things. I need that card. I'm going to get like that card tattooed on my back. But this is why I love what you do, because when you see, I wish I had a picture, when you see what Dante does, it's like all of the cards, it's nothing like any other reading. All the cards are laid out. It's like the whole deck. I don't know if you have multiple decks, but it's not like this bullshit that you see on TikTok where they're shuffling, they're like, oh, this flew out, this means this, and they're like, it's like some magical devil spirits coming, oh, this flew out. It's not that. And it's not like shuffle the cards and you shuffle them and then here's what it means, like it's like a magic trick. You're really just, you spread, and then sometimes there maybe that card you don't even talk about, but you see, I feel like it doesn't need to be shuffled. It's like you just see it and then you kind of put the story together. It's not pick a card, any card, like you're a magician or something.
Right, but it's people read in different like different ways, and in my particular personal technique, I happen to read in these piles of cards, and in my version of reading in these piles, two cards touch each other, so it's like red and blue equal purple. So when you have one card touching another card, it tells me how to color the messaging and how it relates and as it bounces off your psyche. So it's a very intricate, it's not like the angel. I'm a messenger from what I see, but it's my ability to kind of use the cards as my tools. They're my tools that I'm working with on you.
Yes, but you make me believe in it because there's something special that's happening, what you're able to do. Like if there was such a thing as I believe in a psychic, or this is magic, or this is like, what people always want to poo-poo on, like, oh, and they say, oh, I don't believe in that stuff. Well, any of those people, I would say, like when it comes to you, you make me believe it because it does feel magical when you do it. It does, because of the fact that you had it. It feels like the reason why people avoid psychics, because they're like, oh, I don't believe any of that. They're telling you a tall tale, or they extracted information, or they Googled you before. No, with you, you're like, this feels like magic. It feels surreal,
Thank you, because it's sort of like I go inside your psyche.
Yeah.
What you were feeling. That's the uncomfortable feeling people talk about. I kind of go into your psyche and I rearrange your closet. I'm like, no, girl, get rid of that dress. And, this looks good on you. And if you go down that path, this might work out for you, but be careful about that guy because it may not work out that way. Or, all these kinds of things. So guess what? This is going to happen in June or March. So it's like I go into you and I use the cards to orchestrate and illuminate what's going on in your psyche. And as I told you already, There's no time in the psyche. And so these cards can move into your future and move into your past.
Yeah,
And
very.
so I'm using this kind of flashlight and scanning where you are now and moving into where you're going through the interpretation of the cards as I see it reflecting off your psyche as mirrors. And
Right.
that's how the magic happens.
Is this hard to explain to people that first meet you, that don't know you, that know nothing about you, what you do? And do people, is it really annoying, or people are like, oh, or they have their opinions, or is it like being a doctor or a lawyer where people are like, I have this thing on my back. Can you check this out? Are people like, what do you think of this? Do people come to you for advice? Are people cynical? Like, because people you don't know. It sounds like your
Do you
family
mean like
would
in
be
the
supportive.
public space, or you mean as clients that come to me?
Let's say you go and get a drink around the corner, and someone's like, what do you do for a living? What do you say? And what's the general
Well,
reception?
luckily the trend, there's a difference between when I used to go to a bar in 2000 versus going to a bar now and talking about what I do. People are so much more open.
Yeah.
The younger generation is so much more interested in it. I used to say, oh, I kind of do tarot on the side. And now I'm like, I'm a professional tarot reader. Never flinch.
Yeah,
This is what I do.
yeah.
I've been doing it for years. I don't really I don't really come across negativity like I used to in the past because it's much more accepted.
Yeah. What's the do people ask, like, can you do me? Can you like, as if it's like
I'm
jumping
like,
on the spot, like
I'm sold out, honey. Try to
here's
give
my
me a call, see
website.
what I can do, right? It depends. All kinds of situations have
Yeah.
happened. I love talking about what I do, and I'm not afraid to talk about what I do, and I love what I do. And I think, it's also a nice way to say, even publicly, that cards are a tool. And so they can be used as meditation, they can be used for guidance and direction, they can be used for healing. They're a lovely, beautiful set of
Yeah.
images that bring in healing and hope, and they offer so much good. They're really a divine gift.
Yeah.
And so most people are open to hearing that. If they're not, then I don't need to talk to them. Move on. Go,
You're like, see you later. Has anyone ever been like walked out of a reading, or like, have you ever had any sort of like one of your like celebrity clients be like freak out on you or anything like that? Like
Oh
any,
yeah.
yeah.
You mean like freak out in a negative way or a positive
No,
way?
no, I mean, in a negative way. Like, because when I think back to my reading, I could have been not like triggered. I guess I just called my friend afterwards and was like, you didn't tell me where my husband is. You just told me I was going to be on TV. Like, I didn't, but people, have you ever had like, not a negative situation, but someone that kind of,
I've been reading cards 42 years. I'm seasoned to handle
yeah, you've seen it all.
people pushing back on me. And, like again, in my introduction, this is all like cards, and I'm just telling you what I see. And so you don't have to accept what I see. You
Yeah.
don't have to keep what I say. I'm just here to give you the experience from what I do for others. And some people really, really love what I do. I've been reading clients since I moved to New York. I still have clients from 1995.
Oh my God.
I read them in college. I've been to their weddings.
Oh
I
my God.
know their children.
Did you predict the wedding? Did you predict the children?
Oh yeah, I invite myself to weddings. I love weddings. I actually have one coming up in Ireland. I'm going to Ireland in October for a client that I've been reading for over 15 years. And I
Oh
have
my
another
God.
client wedding in Palm Beach next February that I read in London, and she invited me to her wedding. Lovely. I
I
have the most amazing clients. I love my clients.
Okay, you're gonna be invited to my wedding
Oh,
if
of
I
course
have
I am.
one. Can we see if I'm ever gonna have a wedding? Should we do a
Yes,
reading?
we can ask that. We can ask that for sure.
I think now this is when we filmed. I asked it too. You did tell me. So when we filmed, how did you like filming? By the way, before we do my reading, how did you enjoy filming? It was kind of fun when we filmed for
Oh, I
Rona.
loved it. I
It
was
was
fine.
fun.
As long as you don't, you can't fixate on the cameras, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. It was pretty easy. But
I have a way of I connect to you and I'm doing
yeah,
the experience with you, and nobody was on top of me, and I didn't feel
yeah.
like people were
Y-
infiltrating. So that was wonderful. The
You did
producers were
just
really nice.
they were amazing. I love that season's producers. You zoned everyone out. And I remember wanting to do the reading, and I remember also like kind of realizing, as always, you realize that you're filming. So we're doing a reading, and I was like, I don't know, I just felt I was like trying to crack jokes. But I remember that you said I think you said, we took a picture of it, that I would be pregnant by 40. Or no, I would be having a kid by 40, not pregnant, but a kid. I think you said
Okay,
by
how old are
around,
you?
I'm 39 and a half.
Huh?
TikTok. I'm 39
I'm
and a
sorry, I
half.
can't answer that question. Sorry. Okay.
No, 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 no. Of
Well,
course you can. I'm 39 and a half. No, I'm
uh,
39 and a half. TikTok.
okay, so your 40th year's coming up. You're an
And I'm
Aquarius.
pregnant. Joking.
Are you really?
No, I
Oh
wish.
God. Oh my God.
Well, no, not now. Now, in like a few months, I wish. No, it's
I mean,
summer.
I remember talking about that reading when I talked about you going to Paris.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
said, you're going to go to Paris. You're like, I am. And I said, I see you
Yeah.
going to like a vista or some kind of like view outside and going hiking or trailing and
Yeah.
doing something in nature. And you're like, the guy is going to take me to this hike.
Yeah. Yeah. I said he wanted to go hike or something, and I was like, "Is he gonna kill me?"
And that was like, oh yeah, that was kind of great. And you can't control what they're going to show, but the reading was over almost 2 hours. There was a lot of great stuff in that reading, I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot. And I couldn't find where I wrote it down, but we did take a picture. But okay, should we do a reading for me now? You know what
Sure,
I'm gonna
sure.
ask. That's what I ask every time. I only care about one thing.
So what do you want to ask about your love life in general? Or
Yeah,
do
of
you want
course.
to? Okay,
That's
all
all I
right.
want to
Okay.
know. And
Okay, well, I'll focus on that.
I have to write it down.
So I'm shuffling the cards, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them out into 9 piles, like a tic-tac-toe board, and then I'm going to
Okay.
ask you, um, if you'd like me to turn over the cards from the top or flip them over from the bottom, so I get those 9 cards. So
Okay.
write down today's date, please, and then write down 6 to 12 months with a plus sign,
Okay.
because the 6 to 12 months ahead is like in that window. And I talked about the plus sign being this kind of opening up the time window because, again, I may say things that happen beyond, or the cards themselves are going to talk all about 2 years from now.
Did you notice how
And then I'm going to you can title the reading because I'm formal and old
See, look,
school.
he's doing this is the real reading with Dante.
The
Literally, like
title
it's
of the
just dead
reading is
serious.
my
What's the
map,
day? 6 to 12 months. Here's what you write down.
right? Right. And the map and where I'm going.
Okay. Wait,
My
what do I
map
write
and where
down?
I'm
My
going.
map and where I'm going.
Yeah. But we can talk about in relation to your love life. We're going to focus on your love life.
Okay. I also want to ask if I'm ever going to go back to reality TV. But I'm more interested in my love life.
One thing at a time, honey. It's okay. Let's see. Top or bottom.
You're telling me. Okay. Okay,
Top
I'm
or
ready.
bottom.
Bottom. I'm a power bottom. I push back. Just joking. This is what I did when we were filming, and you're like, please shut up. But my producer was like, more jokes, more jokes.
You can be you. I can handle you.
Thank
Please.
you.
Are you kidding? Oh, your cards are actually very nice. And there's a couple of reasons why, which I'll tell you why, and you'll be
Okay.
happy to hear it.
Okay.
But out of the 9 cards, I look at the middle card first because I call it a focus card. It's like the center of the 9, right? And you have a wonderful card of joy and celebration. And this is the card of having fun and like doing things, like events. So in relation to your love life, it's a guy that's active and you go to parties and stuff like that,
Okay.
doing lots of entertainment. It also has a bit of an outdoor feel. So you might be at an outdoor, you might do something outdoors with him. And, it's not my beach card, but you could be at an outdoor resort laying by the pool together, that kind of thing.
Love it.
You might also, in time, it doesn't mean immediately, travel overseas with someone to kind of like a bucket list location. Like I wanted to go to the Outback in Australia or do a safari. It's like this is kind of like a safari card. Like we're gonna do this amazing thing.
Okay.
And why? Because it sits next to the star card, which is a card of like having a hope or wish being realized. It's a wonderful card to have.
Aww.
So the next thing I give you is a power card, and the power card is meant to empower you. Again, the focus of my work is the first card that we look at when we turn over the cards. This is the Five of Wands. And when it comes to love life, I talk about this card being a sense of flirtations or possibly handling more than one in attraction. Yeah, ish. If you want, it can be that. May the best man win,
No.
kind of. Is there anyone in particular that at the moment, I don't see that you're a loyal to any one person right now, are you?
No, I'm not. I
And
am
it
a
gets
free agent. There's a couple that I'm
good. And we're
interested
going to talk
in.
about why your
Yeah.
power card is the more the merrier for now.
Amen. Can you
Okay.
tell
Let
all
the
of
best
them
man
that?
win and the cream rises at the top.
Yes, it does. Okay.
So the next thing I do is we talk about the cards as they relate to each other. We have rows, we have columns, we have diagonals, and we love the first row because it's the strongest row with the power card. And what does it show? It shows this card of flirtation and having more than attention from more than one person. And the second card there is a woman in her power. It is the card of being able to stay in your own identity. So important.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
important.
Yes.
And the third card there is to rise above the challenges. So, in a way, you can bring in too many people that can overwhelm you if you allow it.
Yeah.
But when you have this card of self-empowerment and realizing your identity, you're going to be with someone that you can enjoy, that's not going to try to take away from you, but more like give to you. Okay?
Yes.
Because I
That's
know you're a
amazing.
giver.
Yes, massive.
You're a
No,
giver. It's obvious.
I am a huge
You
giver.
play like all over the place, but you're just a giver. I can
Yeah.
tell.
And at the end of the day, I'm
Okay?
actually I'm like I spend
Yeah.
all my time being like
Right.
exclusive and modest. I love being in a relationship, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
know.
like
And we're gonna get there.
39,
We
so
have other rows.
we have more rows. Okay.
Row two shows the star card. We can't get one of the best cards in the deck. It's feeling lucky, feeling blessed, sitting next to an event. So you could meet
Okay.
someone new in one of the forms of entertainment that's upon you or with you. It could be at a party, an opening, or something like that. And then you got the card of communication, card of talking. There's different kinds of communication, but this particular communication card is about we talked at this party and we hit it off. I'm really optimistic about it.
Okay.
And don't forget, the card above it is this woman in her power. Sometimes specifically, it can represent you feeling dressed up. You might be in a gown, you might be in a dress well. You always dress well anyway, but feeling like your hair and makeup are great. You're got your game on.
Yeah.
You're going to talk to someone when your game is on, and it's you. It's not like this all over the place. It's you. You're there. You're centered.
I love
Love
it.
it.
Okay, we
Row
love
number
that.
3 at the bottom has a relationship card. A relationship is on the way. You got the relationship card in this spread. Out of the 9 cards, out of the 78 cards, one of them is a relationship is on the way, sitting next to a bit of a dilemma, which means, again, you have all these guys or flirtations. You might be seeing someone else when you meet this other person, or you might have some entertainment going on with more than one guy when you meet someone that's going to really be like, oh, wow. And in time, it'll take about, I don't know, I'd say about 6 weeks to determine like he's the guy I want to focus on. And I'll talk about when I see him coming in. So just hold your horses a minute.
Okay.
Are you in therapy or for any reason?
No.
Okay. So you do have the therapist card coming up on the bottom row here. Now, she doesn't need to be only a talk therapist. She can also be a confidant.
Okay.
A confidant is a friend you can rely on for support and care.
ChatGPT.
But it can
ChatGPT is
also
my
be
therapist.
in the relationship. You may look for some
Oh, okay.
kind of holistic care, which we
Okay.
talked about earlier. Some people need
Yes.
more than one. But you might need someone to just bounce some ideas off. You can call me anytime, lovely. Of course you can. But
Oh,
you need
thanks,
maybe
babe.
someone weekly that you talk to bounce some ideas off about the relationship and the direction you're going in. It can also be like a practitioner, a nurse, a nutritionist, an acupuncturist. If you have
Yeah.
babies, it's good to do acupuncture.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do acupuncture. I love it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this could be that's a practitioner. That's the card there. And it'll be you might get him like I bet you can be like, oh, you got to see my acupuncturist. Oh, you got to see my tarot card reader. So you're
Okay.
bringing in the holistic care to the relaelationship.
Yeah. If I
Okay.
send him to you, I'm gonna be like spying beforehand, or I'll grease you beforehand. Be like, tell him he's gonna get married. Just joking.
And then column 1, you have that power column with the card of you're out and about with the star being lucky. Oh my God, I was at the right place at the right time. And it could be a little bit of a jarring thing to you, like, oh, this was interesting. I wonder how much more I'm going to make of this. And it could be a little bit hit or miss in the very beginning, although the conversation when you meet is going to be really flow. It's going to flow very well.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when is this happening? I'm going to try to target that a little bit as we look at the other 2 columns. You got being in your power with enjoying a relationship. Your column 2 is beautiful because it's about keeping your identity while you're embracing a relationship. Love that. Beautiful. There's also a wedding invitation you'll be invited to and a special launch or opening. Now, if you don't have anyone getting married at the moment, it could be on his side that he has a wedding that he invites you to. And again, sometimes weddings bring up the conversation about commitment.
Okay, maybe I should start going to weddings again. I hate weddings.
And again, I think this is all, most of that stuff is all next year. I don't think it's this year.
Oh,
okay. And then the third column has well, it's the orchestrating, because we're focusing on the relationship side of your life. It's orchestrating your careers on how you can navigate seeing each other and being together, because you're in demand, you're a superstar, of course. And so how does this manage with your needs, what you're doing, the things you're expressing, the things you're representing, and with his career life? So it could happen. You do actually have a little child here coming at some point. I see a little boy as the first child. Now, could he be a guy that's divorced with a kid? Yes, he could also have a child, but doesn't need to be.
Yeah. You said that before. It was going to be a boy.
Yeah, don't be. Why are you saying? Why are you going like that? You don't want to meet a guy with a kid?
No, I don't. I've done that twice, and I got really attached to the kids. It's hard enough to do a breakup. It's even harder when there's kids involved.
All right, I get it. But there's all stories for everyone. That's not for that. You have to still be open. But
I'll be open to it. Yeah, they're amazing, of course.
You have your preferences. Again, you're in your identity, so I'm not pushing back on you too much about that.
Yeah. Oh no! Now that I push back, it's gonna happen. Every time I push back, everything I push back on happens.
You will want to be with someone that has the goal to have a kid, at least one. Do you want more than one?
I used to 1 to 2. 1.5.
Okay, we can say, yeah, okay, you did. I like what I see there about it. At the time that would happen, you'll be overwhelmed with work stuff. So you need to figure out your priorities at some point ahead, okay?
Yeah, yes, I know.
You can't do everything. You gotta pick a lane, remember?
I know, but I want to have my cake.
That'll be later. Don't worry about it. Do everything right now. Your power card is to do everything right now.
Do everything.
Diagonal 1 has people interested in getting you attached. So I don't know, everyone, you got all your minions out there looking for guys for you somehow.
They are.
Yeah. Or just give me because of the people you know and your connections. You went to this event and you met this person. Again, you might be meeting someone in the nice weather, which could be this summer or the end of the summer. Okay. And if it's the winter, you're in you're in St. Bart's where it's nice and warm. It's usually a nicer weather. It's kind of reading you got here. Okay, so I don't think it's freezing and cold and you're not in a scarf. Yeah, and that cute little hat you had when I gave you a reading. And your diagonal 2 says, you'll be excited to be with someone that's also successful there. He definitely has. I don't know if he has his own company or he has 2 jobs, but he's an earner and he's a producer kind of person. He's not a lazy butt.
Never.
We love that.
We love that. Yeah.
All right, girl. So what do you want me to answer for you? You get 3 questions. Ask me whatever you want and I'll pick a pile to give you an answer.
Is anyone that I'm currently talking to, hanging out with, interested? Will any of them end up being the one?
All right, let me take a look. Top card or bottom?
Top. It's so nerve-wracking.
Well, you're a little tricky.
Ooh.
Because you can almost convince yourself sometimes that is the answer.
Always.
But I have the moon as an important card for you in this whole question. And so I don't want to say no, but it's not a bright yes. The moon is you have to learn to trust your intuition.
Yeah.
About the right person for you. And so is it any of the guys you're talking to now? I don't think so. However, you might know of a person or know someone that could come back more appropriate for the relationship, and you have that conversation when you're out in public together. So it leans on a no at the moment. It leans on a no. Okay. However, there is a guy here that comes up that you're quite attracted to. I just don't know if you want the same things. Okay. And he could be a tall guy. He's got your look. He got the look for you. You could look well together, but who cares? It's got to be on the inside. Yeah. It's got to speak to you. It's got to be that authenticity that you get from me in the reading. You need that in the relationship.
Yes, exactly. 100%.
And
I
so you need
agree.
to center on that. And the moon is a little bit of a healing attitude you have toward finding that person that can speak to your authenticity
Yeah.
and also not try to make it about the embellishment of who you are. It's like when you sit at home and watch TV together in bed with popcorn, like, how are you feeling? You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the closeness. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That's very spot on. My second question would be, did I make the right decision to leave Roni?
You do know that one of those other cast members was my client. Did you know that?
Oh, really? Who? Or can you
I don't
say? Can
say
you know? No,
it.
that's
I
okay.
shouldn't
That's okay.
say that, but it's
Aw.
interesting. That's how I thought you found me.
Oh, no, no.
That you were friends with one of the other people on your cast.
Oh, no, no, no. Because I found you in like 2020, and I wasn't friends with anyone from the cast until
Yeah,
they
but
put
she
us
was my
together.
client since 2015, and I didn't know if she was your friend.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Aw, I bet I know who it is.
You
I
can
bet.
call me later. I'll tell you
Okay, okay,
privately.
okay, okay.
All right. So let's see. Did you make the right decision? I'm taking that card of that independence that we found in you. Top card or bottom?
Top.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay. It's like devil reverse.
Why? There's a couple of good reasons why. Number one, you want more autonomy in your expression.
Yes.
And number two, there's other areas of entertainment that can open up for you outside of what they only provided you or what that opportunity only provided you. It was such an amazing door opener for you, but
Yeah.
I think move in another direction. And I also think that there's more television or more public facing experiences for you that could be quite exciting. And I think all that could be within the next 2 years. Okay. So it doesn't mean it's not happening now, but I wouldn't be surprised if you have your own show. And then like, 41, 42, or it can also be that you may also be on a show that is not as drama oriented, but more
Yeah.
life oriented. And I think that's kind of what you want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd like to be like Kelly Ripa or something. I'd like to like wake up with America every day, you know? Something, yeah, not like let's rip each other apart and make up lies about me. That'd be fun.
And again, you have this kind of like solid in your identity. So this is really good for you. And I think you don't need to figure it out. You know yourself. It's
Yeah.
great. Life starts at 40, honey. You figured it out. So trust yourself. Just trust it. Like you don't need to be put in a position where they keep questioning who you are. You know who you are.
Yeah, I
Keep
know who I
it.
am. Yeah. It's just like it's never happened to me
Exactly.
in my
And,
life.
it,
And
and
I was
it's
like,
pretty wonderful. And you're
this
pretty
is,
wonderful. So
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I felt like I'm
you're
too
welcome.
old for this. I'm too old for this shit. What should my last question be? Will I get married in the next, will I get engaged in the next year?
Okay, that's a good question. Let's take a look at the marriage card. Top card or bottom?
Na- Bottom. It's so funny. I spent years not wanting to get married and run away from it, and now I want
I
to get
can tell
married.
you will marry. Will you get engaged in the next year? It's not impossible. It could happen because I see the marriage happening within.
That sounds like a no, Dante. That sounds
No, it's
like
not a
bad
no. It's not a no at all. It's not a no. You
no.
actually show destination wedding.
I would do destination wedding, yeah, or Vegas. I just need to see.
Um, you could get engaged. Yeah, and I'll give you a month.
Oh, wait, I'm getting engaged in a month.
No, no, I'm going to give you the month that I
Wait,
see
I
you getting.
can't hear. Oh, I'm in London. I can't hear you, Dante. That's a
I
great
know this is
reading.
like,
No, I'm just lying. Engaged in
I
a
see
month.
it
Okay.
around July, around next summer, July-ish.
July-ish. Should I start shopping
Okay,
for
so
wedding?
my rule usually is around 8, 9 months to really get to know the person enough.
Yeah.
But if you meet someone this at the end of the summer, that'll take you into the 8, 9 months, and you have a July here. So if you don't get engaged in July next year, you're talking about it.
Okay. Okay. I love it.
And there's some travel with this person. A lot of travel coming up for you.
Okay. I like it. Okay, so I'm
Do you have
gonna
any other
be.
questions? You're Brynn. You can ask me more than 3 questions. Do you have any other questions you want to ask me?
Okay, what about babies? Like I said, last
Okay,
time
so
that
you
we
do have
talked, you said
so it's
40.
interesting. Out of the 9 cards, you have your identity, you have a relationship card, you have a marriage card, which is the card of celebration, and you have a child. So let's take a look at this pile to see what it brings for us. Top card or
Okay.
bottom?
Top.
Well, in the pile that I turned over, I have the husband card and the wife card. So that means both of you want commitment to have a child. Both of you are committed to having a child.
Good.
I think it's a boy, like I mentioned. There's success there with having this child. I don't know if you would choose to have two, or if having two would be a little bit of a thing. You need my little push, little assistance.
Yeah, push a little assistance, like
You might you might need a little assistance
yeah.
for a second, but the first one's great. Yeah, you have one for sure.
And a
A
boy.
year after your marriage.
A year after the marriage. Okay, so if I'm engaged by this time, or engaged next July, and then after that, a year, and then I'll have a
So it
little
depends.
boy.
You can wait to get married. You might get married 3 months later, 6 months later. You might get married at City Hall and do a big party in some other city, some
Yeah.
destination wedding, and you can get pregnant on your wedding night.
Here's hoping.
Oddly traditional. And then
I'm a traditional
and
girl.
then deliver a boy about a year later, 9 months later. So yes, it's written there that you can make all that happen.
Okay.
Does it guarantee it? No.
No,
But does it show
never.
that it's there for you? Yes.
Okay, I want another question. Am I going to become a billionaire?
You can become what?
Am I going to become a billionaire?
I mean, honestly, you want to ask if you're going to become a billionaire?
Yeah. That's my goal.
Wow. All right, hold on.
I don't want to marry one anymore. I want to become one. That's my.
I
don't need a billion. Like, just like a couple $100 million.
I mean, is that really what you want, to be a billionaire? Is that the goal?
Yeah,
like that seems a little.
So here's the thing. I need to. There's something inside me that I need to like win. Not just I don't know if it's winning the game of capitalism.
Like you want to have your foundation.
I
and
need
help
to
the
make an
world in some
absurd amount of
level?
money. Yeah, and I'm gonna give it all away. I'm not here to like collect things. I don't care. I want like a garden. I want like one house in London. I don't need a private plane. I just want to be I want to feel safe. Like I want to feel safe, and I think like I have to do this for like the little kid in me. I promised myself that I would be like absurdly rich. I'm gonna give it all away. I came into this world with nothing. I'm leaving with nothing. I just want to be like, yeah, I did it, and then create a foundation, and then like Melinda Gates,
Okay.
but at a way faster
We're
rate.
taking the star card because that's your ambition card, and this is the card of being blessed or being in the ambition. Let's see what comes up about it. Top card or bottom?
Top.
Well, it'll take you time. It's not going to be it overnight. It's going to take you a number of years to get to this kind of idea of how you want to get back to the world.
Yeah.
But it does show that you're going to strive for that, and you may do that in tandem with some other people if you have a goal.
Yes.
To create a foundation of some sort. I do see you're Aquarius. You care about humanity. You care about the underprivileged. You care about someone. You care about something. And so this could be your goal, to collect the power to do that.
Yes.
Is there a dollar on it? No. It's not about being a billionaire. It's just being capable of doing it. It's the ambition to allow yourself the power to do it. Don't get caught up in the dollar amount. It doesn't matter. What matters is your power. And money is power.
Money is power, yeah. And and I feel like a lot of people don't want to admit that, but I want to create a foundation. Every single thing that like
it's about 4 to 5 years if you trend on upward strength.
Yeah. I just want to like every single thing that I experienced or happened to me, I want to be able to like that. I'm not going to pick no offense to the environment. I'm not going to pick the environment. I'm not going to pick this or that. It's going to be like if you're raised by a grandparent, if you couldn't afford college, if you were
correct,
victim of abuse or assault or anything like that. Every single bad thing that happened to me, I'm going to fucking make a charity, and I'm going to help people. Like it's just going to be like the charity of Britons. Like that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah, there's something about that.
Sorry, the environment. Sorry, Mother Nature. I'm not going to be helping climate change because I've never been affected by it.
I get it. But it's going to, you have to build upon that concept.
Yeah.
And you need the power to grow, and that's going to take a number of years. But you can do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would love that. Amazing.
Why? Because you have the wish card in there, and you also have the idea that you would, again, sometimes you got to pick the lane about what it is, if it's abuse or if it's grandparents raising children. And then you branch off after that.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I love that. Okay, so to start to kind of wrap things up, there's one quick thing I wanted to just like clear or have you clear there for. If there's one misconception about everything that you do and your expertise in your role, there's one misconception that you could like single-handedly clear up in one fell swoop, what would it be?
Oh, I mean, as like an ignorant misconception about tarot?
Yeah.
Oh, that it's like, controlled by the devil and it's anti-religious and anti-spiritual and all that's BS.
Right? It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
It's so not that. It's like if you're there, that means you're in a dark place yourself.
Right? Yeah, if that's what you're
For
thinking. Okay.
sure.
And is there any sort of intuitive message that you could share? Right now, the world's a crazy place. I don't know if you've
Oh
had like an
God.
increase. I mean, it's a crazy place. I don't know if you've had an increase in like interest reading. I mean, you're always so booked up, but is there something that like any sort of message or anything, or even what Miss and the Cards would say that would kind of like to give hope in
Yeah, let's
humanity?
pick a card.
Dante, are we entering
Yeah.
World War
I'm
Three?
not I'm not used to I'm not used to reading on like a mundane level or about the globe and all that. I
Yeah,
usually do
yeah.
more one-on-one
Just
stuff,
one
but
on
let me see
one.
what I see about that. It's a great question because a lot of people do ask me these days over the instability of the world and what's going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
I turn a lot to astrology about that because there is astrological things happening over the next year and a half that's going to bring us kind of a new world or a new humanity, which even though it looks really dark, there's an optimism on the other side of it.
For sure.
So let's see what this looks like here. So the three cards I pulled, one is letting go. In other words, just letting go of the old way. And the second and third cards are really nice. One is about opening opportunity. There's going to be a window of opportunity where people can really like focus on their true goals and desires and not all this BS.
Yeah.
So there is going to be more authentic space. And I do think things are going to become important. And also, we need equality for women and men. We need equality for gay and straight. We
Yes.
need universal equality. And I
Yes.
think ultimately we're going to level that out despite all of the horrible pushback against it right now because it's like the last grasp of the old way and it's going to
Right?
die off. It's going to
Sometimes
die off.
I always tell people in life, I'm like, whenever I'm going through something really, really horrible, 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 I'm like, this is it, it's over, it's done. Actually, looking back now, I mean, it's easier looking back, but that was actually the beginning of something incredible and great. So that's my
Exactly.
current hope in humanity. I'm like, we're at the bottom of the
Oh
barrel.
boy,
That it
we
can't
really
get
are at the
any worse.
bottom.
Guess what? You're at the bottom. There's literally no other. It can't get any
Right.
worse. So, hopefully, like it's the law of physics. It will, for every reaction, there's an equal
Yes,
reaction. So I'm just hopeful that it's going to be the most beautiful time after this for everyone
it
because
will
there's so
be.
much pain and
I
suffering.
believe that. I
Yeah,
believe we're gonna bounce back on the other side bigger and brighter and more equal.
100%. Well, it'll
Nothing's
be,
gonna work. And I read this back in like the 80s when I was reading spiritual books, way back when I was 19 and 18 years old, because I'm in my 50s now. But it was about the equalization, like until all the races come together, there's no peace in the world. Until men and women are treated equal, there's no peace in the world. Like we have to want to be at that place where
yes.
we're not ostracizing and isolating and marginalizing. It just can't be.
No, and it
We're never
doesn't.
going to find peace
No, and
or
I have
happiness.
no, never. And I definitely have hope, and especially too. I work with so many young people, and I feel like an old person saying this, but when I do see like talk to Gen Z and stuff, all right, I'm like, we're gonna be okay. I don't know even know if my if millennials will be, but at least I feel like safe with the Gen Z kids. They're super annoying. They're super annoying. They know nothing, but at the same time, they actually give me so much hope because I'm like, you guys finally got it right. Because I don't pick up on anything that I experienced even as a kid or a teenager in my 20s. They just like I have so much hope. They're annoying, but they give me so much hope. They're incredible.
Yes,
So
I do too. And
yeah, yeah,
but they're also quite. It's different. My generation's so different, but
yeah.
they're also kind of like they're naturally inclusive.
Yes, yeah. It's not even like yeah,
It's not
it's
even like a
it's not
thing,
even there.
right?
Yeah. They
There's
grew
the
up with
segregation is not
smartphones.
part of their
No,
journey.
no, and it's literally not there. So I'm thankful for that.
Mhm.
Well, I'm excited because I'm going to now get married and get pregnant, and I just had all I have to do is go to this party, and there's a
Yeah, but
party I
you
have to
have
go
to
to, and I have to talk to
and you
someone,
got
and
to be
it's gonna
dressed
change
up.
my
You got
whole
to be
life.
as superficial as you can be. No, you got to
Yeah,
stay
dress
centered,
up, and then I'll
and you
start
have to
my
have a lot of guys around you
foundation.
at once to keep the momentum going. So
I
he
have to keep
appears.
date. So Dante told me to keep dating a bunch of dudes. Check. And yes, keep going to more events and parties and get super dressed up. And before I know it, oh, and then start going and choosing a baby names because I'm gonna have a boy.
But interestingly enough, about that little spread that came up for you, there was more about you being ready as opposed to the guy. And it's not outside of you, honey, it's
I
inside of you.
know. I
And so
know.
it's
I
about
know.
you claiming your power, you centering yourself, you being comfortable in your own skin, not the search.
Yeah, I know.
Allow not the search, just let the allowance happen by putting yourself out there and trusting that that person is being drawn to you because it's time.
Yes.
That's it.
That's the
Can you
hardest
do
thing.
that?
I'm working on it. That's what you've told me, and everyone and therapist ever told me, like, it's me, it's me, me. And deep down I know that it's me. I know it's me, and I'm always
You're
pushing
almost
people
there. I
away or
came
not
up on
opening.
the top row, so I'm glad.
I'm almost there. I think I'm almost there because I'm just getting tired of it all. But okay, I love this so much. Thank you so much. Can you please tell everyone how, I'm warning you, it's not cheap, and it's gonna take there's a long wait list. But how can everyone get in contact with you and book you?
So I have an online calendar system that you can book through my website, which is tarotbydante.com. No spaces,
Tarotbydante.com.
tarotbydante.com.
DANTE.
And people always write me like, there's no appointments for the rest of the 2 years. But I really only have, I read in 5 cities around the world, and I book travel. And so once I know my travel schedule, I can open up my New York City appointments. And usually when I travel, not only do I do in-person appointments in these cities I go to, but I also sometimes do open up the calendar for remote Zoom appointments as well. So I read around the world. And I usually open up appointments over the next couple of months ahead. So right now I'm going to open up a lot of October, and then September, and then November. I know as of now, in November, I'm going to have a lot of availability.
Okay.
So I'll probably open up those appointments sometime in
If
August.
you want to get it, okay, look in August with November. I'm telling you.
I
You
also
need to
answer
reach
my
out.
phone, and as much as it's scary to even say that in a public space, but I do
Yes.
have a phone number on my website, and I do text and call people when I can.
Yes, yeah. And
Emails are hard.
I
I
think
get emails every day.
yeah. I think I stalked you too to get my first appointment. I think it took a while. So don't give up. You have to just keep trying, and then
Oh,
eventually you'll
yeah.
get in. And
If
it's
you corner me, you can get me somehow. It's amazing.
yeah, like
I like to be chased.
truly life changing. And maybe he'll tell you that you're going to be on reality TV too. All right, thank you so much, Dante. Thank you for joining. It's been
You're quite
amazing.
welcome, honey.
Thanks,
We
love
speak
bug.
again.
Okay.
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 Bye.
Bye.